Hello there and welcome to the show. It's Chris Reardon with the United Kingdom talk, and a very strange thing I saw on my way back from the swimming pool today. Now, as most of you know, I do go swimming Monday to Friday usually up at the local the private swimming pool. Just want to point that out. We don't use the council trash one here, dear. Oh no! I use the private one up the road. I'm only joking. The council one's very nice. I mean, badly run, I think. I think it's a bit badly, or at least it was a few years ago, which is why I left. Oh yes, didn't you know that? Well, let me tell you. About 4 years ago, I used to go to the swimming pool just up the road as run by the council. I mean, it was all right. I've made some very good friends up there, including a dear old lady that I've kept in contact with all these years called May. And do you remember I've told you about her a few times? She's a disabled lady. She needs help in and out of the pool. I made great friendship with her. She's the one that was duped a few weeks ago. You remember? Someone got into her house pretending to be working for the council and tried to steal money from her. Fortunately, they didn't get any. Anyway, we're missing the point here. Coming back from the swimming pool earlier today, I saw all these children coming towards me, which isn't unusual because my house is quite near. There is a school. I can actually see a school playground from the Mirable studio window. So it's not unusual to see large groups of children coming towards me on the path. So there I am. So, oh, I just hurt my nose. Cycling along on my bike. These children are coming towards me. And I thought, they're very well... the way they were walking towards me was very well organised, I thought. There's like two together and so on, which again isn't unusual. I remember being at school and when you were little you had to pair up with someone and hold their hands while you were walking along. But as I got closer, I realised, I mean, the most dreadful thing. I know people are going to be screaming at me now, it's all for the children's safety and all that business. But I saw the most dreadful thing, and it's like this plastic thing. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a bit, if you imagine, you know, noughts and crosses, okay? The zigzag, no, take that back. Imagine a train line, okay? So you've got two lines going down like that. And shall we say 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 sleepers coming down it, right? Now imagine, so once again, imagine a train line, so you've got 2 rails going from top to bottom and 5 sleepers, just 5 sleepers going across it. Now imagine that made in plastic of a bright yellow colour. Well, I've never seen anything like this before in my life, but this thing was like, and it's flat, and on each end of the sleeper is attached a child. I thought it was dreadful. A dreadful thing. And all these children are actually tied up together. I mean, it's a bit much, isn't it? Do you think? Have you ever seen one of these things? Bright yellow it is, and all the children are attached either side of this... Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh dear, excuse me, that happened the other week, didn't it? Let me open the windows, just to stay there. Let me open this window. Need some fresh air. The sun's just come out as well, which is quite nice. I've moved the camera today, so you're looking sort of... The window is behind me. And my equipment's behind me, that you can see some of the equipment there. So I don't know what you think. Have you seen one of those things? Do let me know. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I mean, it just looks like they were little prisoners, little baby prisoners. How old were the children? Oh, I suppose about... between 5 and 8, I would guess, somewhere around that age. But they were all tied together at the ends. See, you know, if you've got the 2 lines, you've got the 2 rails going down, and the sleepers going across. There was a child, about 10 children attached to this thing, one at each end of the sleeper. Have you seen one before? Awful. Just awful. I suppose it keeps them together and, stops them running off. Maybe the schools are using it so they don't have to use so many teachers. I don't know. Anyone seen one of those? What do you think of them? Horrible things. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I seem to remember as a child, I think I had reins. Yeah, and Mum used to hold on to these things. Oh, aren't they dreadful? I felt like a dog being taken for a walk, dear. I beg your pardon? I look like a what? How rude you are sometimes. You really are. So that was that. Other things I wanted to tell you about today. Oh, the corn on my foot. Remember I bought some, I haven't got them here now. I bought some corn plasters a couple of days ago, and I put one on my toe. Instantly better. Marvellous. Instantly better. I just put this corn plaster on the corn, and now I can walk around once again in comfort. Now, it wasn't till this afternoon that I actually read the instructions on the back of the packet that these corn plasters came into. And it says you're supposed to leave one of these plasters on for 2 days and then put another one on. And then it says, don't use any more than 5 for one corn. Now, of course, because I go swimming every day, I thought it might be better to change it every single time. But actually, I did take the one off after I've come out of the swimming pool, had a shower, dried my toe and put a new one on. But actually, it wasn't falling off at all. So I think, I'm not sure if I should change them every day if I'm going swimming, really. But nevertheless, it says you're not supposed to use more than 5. And then it says after that, right, after you've used these 5 corn plasters, and they've got medication on the inside and all that, after that, the corn can be removed. Now, there aren't any instructions on how to do that. What do? Do you just take a kitchen knife and cut the thing off? Oh, God. Isn't it awful? I mean, I wonder what they taste like. Corns. Has anyone ever eaten a corn from their feet? I mean, because quite often, I hope you don't mind me asking that, because quite often I'll sit here, you know, chewing away, not while I'm doing the show, but chewing away, like, you know, you bite another bit of skin off, and it's quite nice, isn't it? A bit chewy. I mean, I've got a feeling, if I was really that hungry, I'd probably cut bits of myself off and eat them. What bits? Now, you're just being funny now, aren't you? You're just being fun. Just little bits here. Maybe I could. I don't know. Do I use all my fingers? Perhaps that little finger there. I don't think that doesn't get used on. I'm not a trained typist. Perhaps I don't need that little thing. Oh, hang on. Yes, I do. I need that to play the piano. Or maybe I could cut one of the toes off. But could you eat a corn? I wonder. Has anyone ever tried that? I always remember being at work at a place I used to work at in Camden Town, and was about 15 years ago now, and there was a person in there who did this act. The name of the person was May East, and he would dress up in these women's clothes and do pop stars numbers on the stage. He'd take them off, you know, impersonate them, and his best one was the 3 Degrees, and he used to do when well, I mean, there was only one of him. He sort of had to run around a lot on the stage, so it looked like it was 3 people, I think. But he was actually very, very popular. But always remember my mate David Rosen. You know, I remember David Rosen. I've told you about him before. He was also a DJ at the said venue. Is now a minicab driver. And I always remember him coming into me one day because he, on this particular night, he was hosting the show. I was pushing the buttons and playing the music. So I would introduce the show. He would come on and say, hello, welcome to Amateur Talent Show on a Thursday night. Lots of stars, and he would do all that business. And please welcome our first guest this evening. And one of them would be May East. Let me think. There was May East. There was Fedora Hogg. She was a strange character. Good act. There was Sheila Serenade. Now, Sheila Serenade was a really strange act. She would come on, again, in women's clothes, and she would bring... It was the most bizarre thing you've ever seen in your life. She would come on with, like, this clothes stand. You know the clothes when you go to the market or something, and they're on a stand with a pole, and everything's hung on this pole? Well, she would come on with something like that, And attached to this were various things hanging down on bits of string, and she'd have a wooden spoon and start hitting them, playing them like like an instrument. It was the most bizarre thing. But of course, you know, all these acts were, shall we say, a little bit strange. Good. I mean, I enjoyed it. Amateur Talent Night, it was called. Have you ever been to one wherever you are? You don't see so many of them now. Their popularity kind of waned. But every week you'd have these few different... Oh, and then there was Lee Stevens. He was a singer. And he used to sing Elvis songs. And he always... I think... I'm not sure if he's still here, actually. I think he might have passed away a while ago. He wasn't that old, but he used to come on and do Elvis songs. And always he used to get something wrong. He'd get something wrong somewhere. And he would come out with the same line every time. You can tell it's not you can tell it's live. Always said the same thing. Anyway, so I mean, these amateur talent things, they were fantastic. Really enjoyed them. Really, really enjoyed bizarre acts that we've never seen again. Really, I wonder what happened to those people. Sheila Serenade. Well, I can't think what his name was now, but I saw him in a pub just a couple of weeks ago somewhere where I worked, and he came up and says, do you remember me? Because we are going back like 15, 16, 17 years. And I said, Sheila Serenade. He says, yeah, but please don't call me that because I've let that one go now. You know. Great acts. But May East. So David Rosen, he came up to me and he went into the dressing room because he would have to go into the dressing room, write out the list of who was on and in the correct order, give me the lists so that I'd have all the bits of music together and ready. And then the show would happen a little bit later. Let me just clear my throat. Excuse me a minute. All right. Sorry about that. You didn't hear that, did you? I threw my switch then so you couldn't hear me clearing my throat. So he went in the dressing room, came back, give me the list. He said, I've just seen something very strange in there. And I said, what's that? He said, May East. I said, well, she is a bit strange. He said, no, she's sitting in there with her foot on the chair, cutting lumps off her feet. It's true. And I says, you're joking. He said, go and have a look. So I went in the dressing room, and sure enough, she had a foot off one chair, half dressed because she was getting ready for the show as well, and she had a penknife, and she was cutting bits off her feet. How awful is that? So that takes us right back round to this thing. It says... on the corn plaster package, it says, after 5 patches, you should be able to remove the corn. Now, there's no instructions on how to do that. So, do you just get a knife and cut the blooming thing off? And in which case, what? I mean, I've got kitchen knives. Do I just need one of those? Now, what we need here is someone of advanced years, someone a bit older than me, who has had corns and has had experience. Now, in this case, you may like to respond to this, but remain anonymous, and I will completely understand that, okay? If you want to write in and says, here's the instructions on how to remove a corn, but please don't read out my name, I will completely comply with that, okay? Just let me know what to do, because we've got a few days now while I'm wearing these corn patches. Incidentally, the corn has turned a strange colour now because of the medication that's on the plaster. It's sort of a pinky red colour. But I don't know what to do. So can you help? Let me know. The email address is chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Do I just get a knife, a pair of scissors? Maybe I can... Oh, it's not small enough to be done with nail clippers. It would have to be a sharp knife, wouldn't it? Let me know, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I've also noticed, I don't know about you, but the numbers on my mobile phone, I've mentioned this before, the numbers on my mobile phone appear to be getting smaller and smaller. Or not necessarily smaller and smaller, but more difficult to read. Do you think I need to go to the optician? I think I need to go to the optician again, don't I? Time to have some more eyes tested. Yes. Or time to have the same eyes tested again. Trouble is, I do wear Glasses. Occasionally, not always when I'm driving. Sometimes it's better than at other times. Have you noticed that? People that wear glasses, eh? Do you find sometimes you need your glasses and sometimes you don't? Odd, really. Now, how are we doing on the... we've got ages yet, haven't we? The Olympics. Been continuing to watch the Olympics, and I can't believe we've got quite a few medals this time, haven't we? I was watching the telly, and every time I turn the news on, Great Britain has won another medal. And it just makes you feel good. Isn't that funny? It makes you feel good. It really does. There was a bloke on the radio I was listening to last night who will remain nameless. I listen to him sometimes. I just find him a little bit wishy-washy. Really wishy-washy. He's a bit too nice. Well, I'm nice myself. I hope I'm not too nice. He's a bit too nice. He's very wishy-washy, always frightened of upsetting someone. And he was talking about the athletes on the telly, and he said, why do you think they do that? Do you think they go that to represent their country? And he said, no, of course they don't. They do it for themselves. I don't believe that. I think, yes, you do it for yourself, but you also do it to represent your country. I do feel myself in a similar vein that doing this show, apart from doing it for myself, let's be honest about it, I get a lot out of doing this show. I really do. I make a lot of friends. Hopefully, I occasionally make people smile or make people think nice things, or think about people who are perhaps less fortunate than themselves. I enjoy doing this show. I get a lot out of it. But I also do feel that I'm representing the country. I do represent the United Kingdom. Perhaps, I don't know how typically, does everyone look and sound like me walking around the United Kingdom? No, probably not. But I do like to think perhaps I'm representing my country as well. I'm a bit proud, really, to be British. Yeah. So watching the Olympics, and he was saying they don't do it for the country, they only do it for themselves. I don't believe that at all. I think that athletes do represent their country and are very proud people. And it makes me very proud to see them winning medals and things like that. Of course, these politically correct people would say to you, oh, it's not about the winning, it's about the taking part. Yes, there is, of course, some truth in that. It is great to have an event where all countries get together, politics are put aside, and we all get on together. Yes, it is nice to win medals, but it is also about the taking part. There are some countries that are in the thing with maybe one or two athletes, and perhaps some of them think they haven't got a hope in hell of winning anything. Doesn't matter, because they're joining in. But it is nice when you turn on the news, Britain's won another medal. And the last time I looked, we are third in the... I know, I think the last time I looked, we'd won, I think, 15 gold medals altogether. I don't know what it is now. Might have gone up now. 15 gold medals, which is good. It's third position on the medal table. Of course, I can hear out of the corner of my ear, Chinese and American people are laughing at what I just said, because I know how many you lot have won. Chinese have done really, really well this year. The Americans are second. Great Britain is third. Great Britain is third. Yes, in front of the rest of Europe. I love it! I love it! Any comments on that? As always, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I must say, aren't the cycling hats funny? Did you watch any of the cycling? They've got these cycling hats, and they look like the top of an alien's head. They really do. I think the British ones were blue and white, weren't they? Or they might have been red. Oh, it must have been red, blue, and white, I would guess. But these cycling helmets are really strange-looking things, and they're like round like that, and they've got a towel on the back of them. Did anyone notice that? I always have a little chuckle when I see those. Right, now what shall we do? Shall we start the emails in case we run out? Because we can always go back to other stuff. Yeah, I think we might do that, actually. Yes. Or incidentally, if you're here in the UK, I know we've had a bit of rain recently, but I'm just trying to help you out here. If you've got hanging baskets, keep watering them. I learned a chap called Bob years and years ago told me you must water your hanging baskets every day, even when it's raining, because the actual surface area of the hanging basket is not very big, and even if when it's pouring down with rain, doesn't get an awful lot of water in there. So remember that, boys and girls. If you have hanging baskets, keep watering them. My hanging baskets are looking lovely. I keep meaning to take a photo of them and put it up here. Maybe I'll try and get one later on. Maybe I might be able to do one for this particular show, okay? The main United Kingdom Talk website, if you're a new viewer or listener, you'll find that at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Right, here comes some emails. First of all, it's young Matty. Good afternoon, Matty in Australia, who writes lots of emails. I hope you're going to put all your emails together soon, Matty, all right? He says, we're talking about nicknames on another show. I haven't got a nickname for you yet, but still thinking for you one, because I call one of my friends that I have known for a while Knucklehead. And he calls me Chucklehead. We talk on MSN Messenger. It has a wink thing, like that. It's a wink thing. And the hand comes up and knocks. When you see that, it makes you think that I'm knocking on your head to see if anyone is at home. He said it'd be funny that if it could knock your head around a bit to see if you're awake in old age. What is wrong with you, Matty? You're always mentioning my age, aren't you? What's all that about? I actually think... Oh, what was that? Just a minute. Just knocked something over there. There we are. I think, Matty, you're jealous that you haven't got to this age yet. Would that be about right? I think it is. It gets better, Matty. It really does. He says, loved your show the other day. You looked different in the last show. My eye caught something on you. Is there anything on me at the moment? What? Like what? What did your eye catch? What's on me? Is there a spider on me? I don't know what you're talking about, Matty. Be more precise, dear. Did you know that a while back, when on my holiday, June the 17th, I got a rude birthday present from my brother Simon? He gave me a rude toy from the TV series Family Guy. Now, this is a bit rude, so be warned. He says, basically... Now, I'm going to have to word this carefully. It's not actually that rude, but basically, this little toy turns around, takes his trousers down, and blows bubbles out of his bottom. What an awful thing to give someone! What a dread! Couldn't you have just given some record vouchers or something like that? An awful thing. It's a little model, it turns around, drops its trousers, and it blows bubbles out of its bottom. How awful. What do you have to do? Keep putting in washing up liquid in its mouth or something like that? He said, that's rude. And today, August the 15th, he says, or August the 15th rather, is my brother Simon's birthday. I gave him movie ticket vouchers and his girlfriend. Oh, that's all right. Movie ticket vouchers. We'll have movie ticket vouchers. What did he go and see? Oh, you didn't tell me what you went to see. Next week, 22nd of August, is my brother Stephen's birthday. My dad's birthday was on August the 9th. He has got a graphics card for his birthday, for his computer, and had chocolate cake and apricot chicken. I remember you telling me that. My brother Simon works for Qantas at the airport. I always remember being on Qantas planes when I was last in Australia a couple of years ago. And whenever they put the screen on, they were singing that song, I Still Call Australia Home, with, I believe, the Qantas School Choir or the Qantas Choir or something like that. Beautiful rendition of that song, I Still Call Australia Home. My brother Stephen works with computers, and I work as a postal worker for Australia Post. So you used to do training as a pilot in an aircraft plane? No, not exactly. I just had one flying lesson. That's all I had, one flying lesson. I did find a plane, the little planes, little Cessna plane, and it did tend to get blown about a quick. Our friend Robert, Bob the Viking, of course, did tell us that the small planes do get chucked about a lot more than the large jumbo jets. He says, well, me also did experience for one day in flying as a pilot, and the pilot says I did well better than some people, but hard at first. It was quite fun. From your friend Matty, the Tasmanian Devil. So, did you you just did the one flying lesson, did you? Did you enjoy it? Huh? Did he? Because towards the end of the lesson, he takes his hand off the controls, and then you're actually flying a plane, which is quite exciting. So there we are. He says for his brother's birthdays, there'd be more junk food and cake, which might make him go hypo, as he also drinks Coca-Cola. Does it make you go hypo, drinking all that? I'll tell you what does that to me, chocolate. Chocolate. If I have a load of chocolate quickly, I get very, what's the word? Energetic suddenly. I do, yeah. He says, you gave out the wrong website the other day for the Pictures of England. It is in fact picturesofengland.com. Okay, so sorry about that. picturesofengland.com. Matty says, my dad doesn't watch the show, or your brothers haven't yet either. Just me. He gives me a recipe for apricot chicken, so I might have a go at making that, actually. Might have a go at making the apricot chicken. Never had it before. All right. And then he starts going on about my age again. What's he got about my age? Look, he says, you know I was born cheeky. Let me see. England has become many centuries old and has old places and old buildings, and so do people grow old and have walking sticks and wrinkles. But anyway, I am so interested in visiting England and like to visit castles, etc. in the future. Oh, we've got a lot of those here. It says, I haven't missed any of your shows yet. I'm like a study viewer to you. You make me laugh, in other words. He says, you are also a good stirrer. Are you going to get a Tasmanian Devil? Probably not. I don't know. He sends a couple of smiling faces. Lots of emails from Matthew. You must put them all within one email, though, because it's getting a bit complicated here. He reckons, he was talking about McDonald's the other day, that he reckons they've downsized their food and he doesn't really like the chips. He thought he was never going back again. He likes Hungry Jack's. Yeah, I like Hungry Jack's. I went to the one in Sydney, just on Oxford Street a couple of times there. Hungry Jack's, the Aussie burger, which is really nice. You've got to, if you ever go to Australia, right, go to Hungry Jack's and ask for an Aussie burger. These things are huge, massive. I thought you got big portions in New York, but you go to Australia and ask for an Aussie burger in Hungry Jack's, okay? He's been eating healthy for lunch lately this week, and when he goes into town he has hamburger and chips, which from takeaway shop there, so that's nice. All right. One more from Matt here. Did you know I also have a friend named Dodger in London that calls me Chucklehead because I laugh my head off every 5 minutes and I get cheeky to him just like to you. And he tells me he listens to your show too. And Matt is also a regular tea drinker. So where is Dodger? He's never emailed into the show. Get him to email into the show. Then we'll know who he is. All right, Matty? Hi to Suko. Now, foolishly, I do get confused with so many people's children, and I thought Mimi was one of her daughters, and it's not. Mimi is, in fact, her niece from Japan, who is visiting, as she always does, for the whole summer. Jade, as I know this, Jade is my daughter, who is my only child, right? So I've got to get this right. I thought Jade, just hopeless. I am hopeless, Suko. The Lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me, please, darling. She says, you're so cute you can get away with anything. Oh, please do me a favour, maybe once. Good luck with the new computer. If you have a problem with your new computer, you can call either Jerry, who is pretty savvy about computers, or 1-800-BOMBAY. I know what you mean, dear. Well, I did, didn't I? Did you hear me in the last show? I did have to ring up Dell customer support, who were in Bombay, and very helpful they are too, I have to say. She says, they're sometimes hard to understand. That's true. Not in this case, actually. He spoke very good English. But are actually usually very courteous and as helpful as they can possibly be. I entirely agree with you, Suko. When you ring these Indian call centres, I do find them extremely courteous, or courteous, and very, very helpful. But sometimes you don't get anywhere with them. This is the problem. They do appear, well, I'm sure they are, they're reading off a piece of paper. You ask a question, they look up the answer, they read it back to you. But sometimes you just can't get anywhere with them. And this is why I don't like going through to foreign call stations, call centres, when I've got a problem with anything, because quite often I find you can't get anywhere. They are lovely people to talk to on the phone, don't get me wrong. I will talk to anyone, but I do not feel if you've got a problem in whatever country, then the solution should be found in that country. With, for example, myself. If I've got a problem with my bank, computer, anything like that, I want to pick up the phone and speak to someone here in the UK. Because they seem to be able to sort it out. There's been occasions, there was one of the mobile phone networks, okay, well, actually a lot of them have now got call centres abroad, but one particular mobile phone network I had a problem with, and all the call, every time you rung up with the problem, you'd go through to India, and it was a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. And in the end, I disconnected from them. And I told you I got rid of them on the phone, didn't I? Because even after I'd cancelled the contract, they continued to ring up here saying that I owed money. Or then they'd ring up and say, oh, we owe you money, we'll send you a cheque. Which, of course, never ever arrived. It was a nightmare. And they continued to ring up. And the way I got rid of them was by talking gobbledygook on the phone. I did mention this a few weeks ago in one of the show. Basically, they'd rung up and say, and you'd always know if it was them. You just knew, because immediately this Indian accent would come on and say, hello, is this Mr. Reardon? And I'd go, I'm sorry, sir? Is that hello, sir? Hello, are you Mr. Reardon? And in the end, they just put the phone down. They never rung back again. So you've got to try that one. All right? When you get someone ring up and you don't want to talk to them, it's a company trying to sell you something, just start speaking gobbledygook. And if they soon put the phone down, get rid of these people. That's what I say. Suko goes on to say that Jerry's laptop developed a problem. Now, he's got a Toshiba. I've got a Toshiba laptop. And what's the name of it? I can't remember. It's got blue lights on the front. It's really good. And I'm very happy with it. Jerry's laptop developed a problem. He called Toshiba's technical support in India, and the next day a box arrived with a special box enclosed to mail the laptop and a mailing label, complete with prepaid postage and very clear instructions. You couldn't ask for more. That's really good service, that is. Isn't it? Really good service there from Toshiba. Thank you, Suko, for the email, my darling. And look who it is. It's our other regular Australian correspondent. It's CW. It's our Chris. And he says, good day, Chris. It's Chris from Victoria, Australia here. He said, it did sound a bit funny when I wrote about getting hit with a motorcycle helmet. Do you remember that? Chris was saying he's recently been on holiday. I think it was to Bangkok. Yeah, Bangkok. He's been on holiday to Bangkok. And as he was walking along, he was hit by a motorcycle helmet. And I said, well, how did that happen? I'm not quite sure how that happened. Anyway, he writes here, well, I was walking down some very narrow streets in Bangkok, as there are quite a few, and there are heaps of gypsy, bikey taxis. That's what he calls them, okay? A cycle driver had his head sticking to the left, like that, I suppose, to the left of the motorcycle. He says, I'm guessing I have to look about, and I was clipped by the driver's head. My luck. Well, I'm surprised. Did the cyclist come off his bike? That's just unlucky, that is. And he was also talking about tiger. He went to this tiger sanctuary and the pigs were actually dressed up. He says, as for the tiger sanctuary, well, they dress the pigs up as tigers for the cute factor, plus the pigs and dogs are in the enclosed areas to show how tame the tigers are. So we all go, ah, how cute. And he also says, as for the longest listener, because Gloria wrote in the last show. Do you remember I read out the email from Gloria and her dear husband, Brian? And CW says, as for the longest listener to United Kingdom Talk, I think I would be able to claim that one, as I have been around since the first or second show, when I stumbled across your it's nice of you to say so, across your gem of a show on Live 365. Since my first listed on that, I have been hooked and went to iTunes right away, as the loop Live 365 has you on. Does my head in a bit. Yeah, the only thing is with, of course, listening via Live 365, it's on a loop. So you can't pause or anything like that. Now, if indeed we do have some people that listen via Live 365, and you're very warm welcome, but if you go on to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, you can actually pause the show there, or indeed save it. You can actually save the show if you want to. There's no copyright issues. I am the copyright person, and I give you permission to do that, okay? Anyone is welcome to download this show if you think it's good enough, or perhaps use it, or indeed play it out on another radio station. That's okay. I'm a dreadful businessman. I give everything away, I'm afraid. That's me. But money isn't everything. He says he used to do his head in a bit on Live 365, so now he's subscribed on iTunes, which again you can now do. I mentioned that on the last two shows. You can now subscribe to this show via iTunes. Just go to the main unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk website. Okay, on the left, underneath all the dates, you will see two iTunes buttons. One to subscribe to just the audio, and the other to subscribe to the video show. Okay, they're both virtually exactly the same, one with pictures and one just the audio. CW says, I just had to laugh when you were talking about you bribing your nephew to get you a plate of goodies at your uncle's funeral. I know, aren't I dreadful? Well, what it was, you see, I'd already had one plate of food. My nephew wasn't hungry, the little 11-year-old. So I said, well, go up and get some food. And he wouldn't. If you didn't hear the other show, I'll tell you again quickly. I said, go out and get some more food. He says, oh, no. He says, I'm not hungry. I said, well, go up and pretend it's for you. No, I'm not doing that. So I said, look, if you do, I'll give you 20 quid. So I gave him £20 and he went up and got me another plate of food. Well, you don't want to look like you're a pig, do you? Eh? You're a lean, mean eating machine. Hope is well with you. And that's from our friend CW in Australia. Thank you, CW. And talking about the lions and the pigs and the dogs in the cage in Thailand, I mentioned this. And our friend Susan, who looks after tigers and other big cats in a place in the United States, and she wrote on that subject. First of all, let me read out the whole email, because there were some other bits in there as well. Hello, Susan. Thanks for writing in again. She says, I have a name for my computer, because we were talking about, do you have names for computers? But it is not something that you could repeat on air. I know what you mean. Do you get to the point where you're going to throw the computer out of the window when it goes wrong? I have been there. I have absolutely been. We've all been there, haven't we? You know, when you get a fault on your computer and you just can't get the thing fixed. How annoying is that? Since the area I live in only has dial-up, I can read a whole page of a book before the computer changes from one site to another. Oh, that's dreadful, isn't it? Of course, it used to be like that here. I remember getting my first modem for the computer, and it was 14K. 14K. And from 14K... the next modem, when they speeded up the network, it was then 28K, and then it was 54K, and then it was broadband. if you're wondering what I'm talking about, Joy in Acton, I have to tell Joy's getting upset. I can hear you, Joy. What's he talking about? Okay, for those K, the 14K, 28K, that would be like driving a car at faster and faster speed. So 14 was the slowest, and then it went to 28 miles an hour, and then 54 miles an hour. And then when it goes to broadband, we're talking hundreds of miles an hour. All right, Joy? And why do we need to know that? That is the speed at which stuff comes down the line onto your computer. Say, for example, Joy, you sent me your photo from your computer to mine, okay? Well, if it was 14K, it would come down really slowly, and I'd be looking at your picture on the TV screen, and it would slowly appear, coming from the top downwards. So first of all, we'd see your hair. Your very grey hair, incidentally, Joy, which I noticed when I came to visit you. And then we'd see your forehead, and then your beady eyes, and then your nose, and it would come down like that. If we were on broadband, the picture would just flash up there. So it was an ongoing thing, getting faster and faster. I do wonder, though, sometimes, perhaps, could they not have bought the fast stuff out quicker? Is it just a way of getting us to keep buying more and more equipment? Maybe there has always been broadband. Maybe it's always been there. And we were just unable to get it because they didn't release it, because they kept wanting us to buy more and more equipment. I don't know. He says, so Susan says, so yes, I have a lot of names for my computer. I bet you do. As for you renting a cottage with a sea view, she says, what do you want a sea view for? You already said you don't let getting sand between your toes. That's right, I don't. I'm not saying I'd go on the beach, dear. I just like the sea. It's nice, quite nice to look at the sea. And especially, and I did this in Barbados and Australia, where my room was close to the sea. There's nothing nicer than going to bed and listening to the sea as you fall asleep. I've got to say, the last time I went to Australia, I had an ocean room, which was, I mean, you had your room and the ocean was just a few yards in front of you. And I did have a couple of dreams while I was there that the ocean somehow got into the room, and it was getting twice that happened. I had that dream twice, and the water was coming up and my bed was floating in the ocean in the room. She said, I really do appreciate the picture you showed us with the donkeys on the beach. It brought back a lot of memories when I was a child. Remember, I am English. I remember riding the donkeys on the beach. I think it was Blackpool on the Isle of Man. I have pictures of my sister and myself on the donkeys. Ah, that's nice. We also used to rent a caravan to stay in, though they were never packed in like sardines like you described as they are now. Well, they certainly are in Skegness. I'm sure they're not like that everywhere. But the caravans in Skegness were so close together. I mean, just too much. Too much, that is. Also, here we go, about the tigers and pigs at the zoo that CW was telling us about. They are in Bangkok. And I was asking, how do they get on like that? Susan says, if they had been raised together, they will be best friends, no matter what kind of animal they put in with them. This goes for most animals, not just tigers. The tables can turn, though. We had Zack, a bobcat, and Duchess, a lynx, in the same enclosure. We got them both when they were adults. They lived in an enclosure next to each other, as at that time we had no other bobcats or lynx. They became so friendly towards each other that they were eventually sharing their enclosures. They loved one another and slept with their paws wrapped around each other. Isn't that lovely? They shared their enclosure for at least 6 or 7 years. That is until along came Trooper, a 1-year-old male lynx. We put Trooper in the enclosure next to Zack and Duchess, and after about 6 weeks we let Trooper in with his new friends and buddies. For the first few weeks, everything seemed to be going okay. Trooper, being young, wanted to play a little too aggressively with Zack, but Duchess would always come in to defend Zack. Zack's the bobcat. But the saying, birds of a feather flock together and three's a crowd, must hold some truth. Eventually, Duchess and Trooper, both the lynx, started acting nasty towards Zack, and we had to separate them. Vicky moved Zack into her house, where he lived, sprawled on the couch with central heating and air, though you could tell he was lonely for Duchess. God works in mysterious ways. We have only had one bobcat, Zack, all these years. But just about a month after we moved Zack, along came Moses. Now Moses is a baby bobcat that had been washed downstream in a river during a downpour. That is why he is named Moses. Moses and Zack are now roommates. However, Zack does sometimes get irritated with baby Moses playing antics. Here we see that. We are now in the process of building a bobcat enclosure for them. I do not work at the sanctuary. Susan, I said to you, she does look after the big cats and what. She doesn't actually work at this sanctuary. She's not paid for it. I volunteer, as do most people out there. Vicky can only afford to pay a young student to help out when no volunteers are available. I volunteer on Saturdays. I volunteered with big cats for about 16 years. I do medical billing for a living and sit at a computer for 55 hours a week. Well, I would imagine, actually, Susan, I sit at a computer for as long as that, actually, whether doing this show or doing music things or anything. I would love to make a living working with the cats, but it's not possible. But it's a similar thing now, Susan, with radio and all that business, you see. And I'm going to come to that in a minute. So my schedule is very busy. I also have all my wildlife and all my housework and my land to mow each week. Sometimes there are not enough hours in a day to do all the things I need to do. I know exactly what you mean, my love. I haven't got enough hours in a day. No, I haven't had in for years. I need another 10 hours a day, I reckon. That's what I need. Well, I better get back to my billing since I'm at work. Have a nice day, from Susan. Yeah, thanks for that, Susan. Talking about not being paid, I've said to you before, like, in this particular thing I'm doing now, this talk show is As You Need unpaid. I guess I'm a volunteer, the same as everyone else. The thing is, talking to a radio person that I've known for years and years the other day, now doing this show, I would love to be able to be paid for it and for it to turn into a job. I could do less during the week and concentrate more on this show, and hopefully it would get better. The thing is, if you want to work on a lot of the radio stations here in the UK, you are told what to say. A lot of the time you are told what to say. You are not allowed to be yourself. A lot of these station managers are running around terrified that they're going to be sued or for something left, right and centre. And therefore, the way I do this show would probably change. And I was told this by a very, very good friend of mine who I've known for years and years. And he said, Chris, frankly, you're better off doing the show as you do now, offering it to people. If you want it, take it. But if you go to a station, you are tied up in all sorts of rules and regulations. I mean, there are certain rules and regulations I have to sit here now. There are certain things that I can't say. But most of it is common sense. With radio stations, they're so frightened of upsetting perhaps advertisers or scared of losing a listener or two here, there and everywhere, and you are tied up and told, oh, say this now, do this now, and it's all a bit like that. Whereas now, of course, I'm sitting here fairly relaxed, feeling a bit hungry, incidentally. I'm going to have some beans on toast when I've finished there. So, you know, it's difficult, really. Yeah, I'd love to be on a national station of some sort. I've said this so many times, but my mate advises me. He says, I think you'd change your mind fairly quickly once you were in there. That's the same. I guess it would be the same for perhaps a little local television thing or something like that. So maybe this is the way to go, isn't it? The internet is the way to go, isn't it? I mean, you can get all the BBC, I don't know about abroad, but you can certainly get a lot of BBC content now on the internet. They simulcast all the TV shows. I could log on now to BBC One or News 24 if I wanted to and watch the telly. Is this so different? The beauty of this is I'm in control. There's no one telling me what to do or say. I mean, it used to be like that years ago on radio here in the UK. You would employ someone. Someone would ring you up and say, hello, or, you know, maybe they've seen you do something. Hello, I like what you do. Come and do a show for us. And you'd go and do a show for them as you do it. Okay, perhaps you'd have to play a few adverts and things like that. But basically, you were employed to do what you do. Now, you are employed by these radio and TV companies for, number one, your voice and how it sounds, not necessarily your thoughts, though. Just the voice. Similarly, and we've all seen them on the telly, you're employed on the television for your looks. How many times have you seen perhaps a news reporter or a chat show where the person looks very, very pretty, but are as thick as a plank? And you know that that person has got a little earpiece and some producer is screaming at him or her, telling them what to do or say. And I'm afraid I don't think that's for me. I could do with a little bit of help now and again. I'm more than aware that sometimes I ramble on and on and on when perhaps I should have moved on. But you see, there's no one to tell me to do that. So there is like a fine line. But there's so many people now just employed for the sound of their voice or just employed for their looks. And it doesn't work. I don't think it works. Now, it's all very well people firing at you statistics and think, oh yeah, but we've got 85 million viewers, and doesn't mean it's good, does it? Eating lots and selling loads and loads and loads of sweets is very good. You could sell 10 million bars of chocolate, but doesn't mean it's good. Some of the chocolate is nice, some of it's just because you make loads doesn't mean it's good, does it? Email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Thank you, Susan. And hello to Louise. How are you, Louise, my darling? Who writes, hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for reading my email out last week. The other day I was having a fight with a carton of orange juice, trying to pull out the ring pull, and it got me thinking, how do they expect these to be opened? I know. Isn't it dreadful? Some of this stuff, you just can't get into it. So I thought I'd email you and ask you and your friends of United Kingdom Talk thought about those cartons of fruit juice with the lids and those awful ring pulls. Well, we've got a new thing. One of the supermarkets have got, they're all sort of cardboard type milk holders now, but one of them's got this plastic ring, and whenever you pull it, the thing breaks. It breaks every single time, and you have to get a knife and cut round it. Useless things. Louise said, I find them very difficult to open. Can't imagine how someone old would be able to open such a thing. Love listening to your very entertaining show, Chris. Look forward to the next one. Love and wishes from Louise. Yeah, I know. A lot of this stuff is getting harder and harder to open it. One thing that they have sorted out, it seems, is tins, cans. I don't know what you call them wherever you are, tins or cans, okay? And most of them now have a ring pull on the top, which is attached, and you just pull the thing. You don't need tin openers anymore, do you? So that's very good indeed, very good indeed. Right, we're just fitting one more email, I think. Let me have a look. Yep, we'll just do one. We might get two more in. From Catalin. Hello, Catalin. She says, hello, Chris. I just listened again to your 24th of July show. Don't forget all the old shows you can find at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Right? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Hello, Chris. I just listened to your show again on the 24th of July. How are you? Thanks so much for singing Happy Birthday to me. That was very sweet of you. You made me feel very special. Thanks for everything. Here's a virtual hug and a hug for you. Come here. Little hug. There we are. We like a hug. Love, your violinist friend, Catalin. How old are you now? Are you 17 now, my darling? I think you're 17 now. She says, one of my favourite TV shows is Super Nanny. Joe Frost, the Super Nanny, deals with a lot of misbehaving children. She says, anyway, I was wondering, as a child, were you ever put in the naughty chair? Thank you, Catalin. She's asking me, was I ever put in a naughty chair? Honestly, no. I was quite a fairly well-behaved child. I'm afraid to you're disappointed at that, aren't you? Hey? As a child, I was a very, very well-behaved child. Sorry to disappoint you, Catalin. Nearly time for me to go now, boys and girls. I did have one more email that we haven't fitted in, that we haven't read out yet, from Christian. And Christian says, it was nice to meet you. I'm very pleased that you added me as a friend. I'll have to leave that for the next show now, Christian, I hope. All right? Just one I haven't fitted in on the show. As always, thanks for watching and listening to the show today. Do join in by email at any time. The email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I'm off now to have some beans on toast with a little bit of cheese sprinkled on top. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing you again on another United Kingdom Talk. From myself, Chris Reardon, bye-bye.